Expats have a unique circumstance in which they want to lose weight, or if they want to get in shape, they want to build muscle, then relying on Western content is going to be difficult because they are in a different country that may not have the same kind of resources that they need in order to follow those programs. Hi, I'm Ken. I'm an online fitness coach. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I use, that I would use, and that I have used to lose weight and to get in shape while living abroad as an expat and while working full time. So I wanted to just kind of jump right into that so you guys could see those exact methods and we can go ahead and get started. It will be a longish video, but it will be helpful to those who are looking to do just that. So let's jump right in. So we start off with the question, why do expats lose their fitness abroad? Guys, 80% of expats report losing healthy habits within the first year. And there are reasons for that, which we will get into. But one of the big ones is you're in a city that you don't know yet. You don't understand it yet. That's the whole point. We move abroad to experience new things, but with new things, that means new things that we need to learn. And so a lot of people don't prioritize the healthy habits because a lot of people see them as restrictions, they see it as boring, and they see it as not adventurous, but in reality, it's super important, especially at the beginning. Another thing that's different is our food environment is completely different. What is in the foods? What do the foods look like? How much protein do we tend to have in a meal? How much carbs? How much fats? That changes depending on the location that you're in. So relying on just kind of winging it as you go doesn't really work. Another thing that happens with expats is work demands spike in the first year because you have moved abroad, because it's super important that you do well, because you moved to an entirely new country. So if you were to lose your job, it would be catastrophic. So work demands tend to spike because of that, because of expectations, and with that, so does stress. So people tend to put fitness and health to the side while they figure out their work situation. The problem is most people never get it back. The last thing is the identity drift is real. You guys, there is an identity that you have when you are living in your home country and you've maintained that identity for a long time, some of us for our entire lives. But when we move abroad, that identity shifts as we start to lose those kinds of things that we had before that held us accountable. But we will get into that a little bit more later. So, expat-specific layers that most programs miss. And this is why most expats fail. When you decide that you want to start losing weight, that you want to get in shape, that you want to get in the best shape of your life, you start to rely on programs while you're living abroad. But some things happen with those programs that make it pretty difficult for expats to stay consistent. So why don't we take a look at some of those? Grocery navigation takes real time. So this one, I think, is one of the hardest things for expats because when we go with other programs, we look at other programs and things like that, when we're trying to follow a program, they'll give us some food, they'll give us some meal plans and some dishes. We'll look on Instagram and we'll find some recipes that look absolutely banging and delicious. But the problem is some of those ingredients aren't available in the place that we live. I see all the time on like Instagram recipes. It's like, oh yeah, just get yourself some nice lean turkey. And it's like, well, in China, they don't eat that, okay? They don't eat turkey. They think turkey's weird, all right? The only time you can get turkey is at Christmas, maybe. Like Thanksgiving, maybe. And you have to go to like, it's usually crazy expensive and you have to go to these strange supermarkets and stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff that just aren't available. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, sometimes this stuff is in recipes that we see online, and those are harder to get while we're living abroad. Groceries look different. And so it's going to be harder to find that kind of stuff if the program calls for it. So social eating is unavoidable and important. All right, a lot of programs are like, you can never eat out. And you guys, restrain yourself when you do eat out is super important. But to say that you can never do that is going to make things difficult for expats, especially because if you're not eating out, you're not socializing. And when you're not socializing as an expat, life is tough and lonely. Okay, it is a difficult life because not only do you not have your sort of like social, you don't have like your social ladder from back home, but you also, now you're starting to restrict yourself from building any kind of social support here in your new country. So we do have to eat out sometimes, and it's important to find a way to, in your program, include eating out occasionally, or even finding ways that you can still eat out but still stick to certain plans. Mental load is at an all-time high for expats, and it changes and shifts throughout the journey of the expat as the years go on. At the beginning, expat life is all about exploration and discovery and exciting new things, and there's so much decision fatigue that comes from that. But then, as your life starts to solidify, you start to build a real life in your new country, then things start to change. The decision fatigue changes. It doesn't get easier, but it changes into something like, I mean, how can I focus on my fitness when I'm stressed about my visa? I'm stressed about work firing me because that would be catastrophic. I'm stressed about these new circumstances that could change. There's wars going on in places that can affect it. It's just all of that tends to completely, you are walking through a city that you don't understand. You're constantly looking at signs and languages and things like that you're always trying to decipher, and it makes you tired. Decision fatigue is a real issue. And after the first year, year 2 and year 3, most expats report that that is when they gain the most amount of health, or most amount of weight gain. So 18 to 30 months in, the excitement has worn off and routines calcify. For a lot of people, what ends up happening in these years is because the excitement runs off, you're not excited anymore to explore. You stop moving as much. What happened with me is I got a bike. I mean, an electric bike, and I started riding that around instead of walking everywhere, which completely affected my activity, which also just directly affects how much weight, how many calories you're using versus how many you're eating. You get comfortable with the kind of foods that you have. And if you don't have a routine already set in place, then that can be disastrous. And another thing is that gyms work different. Gyms are different in other countries. Sometimes they have more equipment. Sometimes they have different equipment. Sometimes they have less equipment. Sometimes there's just less gyms around. Sometimes it's harder to go and find one. When you go to a gym, sometimes you have to sign up for training. Sometimes you have to sign up for 2 years. Sometimes you can only sign up for a month. Anyway, the gym is different in every country, so the program needs to be able to match that. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for anyone to follow. So, you guys, if you're looking at this program and you've already decided, hey, I want to get in shape, I finally want to do it, I want to lose the weight, I want to have guidance through that, send me a message, send me a DM. You can go onto Instagram. I'm Ken_Tarafa. Send me a message that says expat. We can get you signed up for a call, and then we can see if you fit into the program, and from there, get you started. Or right down below, right under this video, you can click on the link. That is gonna send you to somewhere where you can sign up and schedule a call with me personally. We can see from there if you're a match, if we work together well, and if we do, then we can get you started on whatever the first step is to get you on your fitness journey as an expat, to losing weight, building muscle, getting in the best shape of your life, getting built, as they say. All right, but if you're more curious about how to do this on your own, then here is the process. Okay, getting started with the process. The framework to build an expat life. All right, so if you want to do this on your own, here's how you do it. You start with Law 1. Law 1 is the freedom requires structure law. Basically, what this is that what you want to do is you want to create structure. And to create structure in your life, you need to know exactly what is around you and how you can use those to your advantage for your weight loss or your health goals, okay? You need to audit your life. What gyms exist near you? What food is accessible near you? What healthy foods? What does a supermarket look like? How do you use that supermarket to get what you need? Okay. What does your schedule look like week to week? And how can you prepare meal plans? How can you prepare meals? How can you eat lunch at certain times? How can you eat your anchor foods each time? How can you plan your gym routine around your schedule? These are things that you need to audit on your own. You need to figure out, okay, what is going to work for me? What exactly times can I go? If you have to go to the gym before work, then figure out how you can make that happen, whether it's going to bed earlier or things like that. Okay. Phase 2, which is also law 2, your routine must travel with you. Okay. You need to build a training and nutrition around what is actually available to you. This is where you take what happened in law 1 and you apply it to your actual life. So you need to find out local produce, local gyms, home setup, local meal culture, and apply that to your week. Don't wait. Start it immediately. Okay. But even if it means just, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna start walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Okay. If that's all you can do tomorrow, do it. As long as you do it tomorrow. Find out what you can do, start it immediately. All right, phase 3. Local foods are not the problem. What you need to do is you need to build daily habits around your food environment. Okay. That means prioritizing protein. All right. Start that 1 week. Make protein an anchor in one of your meals a day or all of your meals a day. Control your portions for those meals. Instead of trying to eat what's going to make you super full all the time, instead eat to what is going to make you 80% full. Prepare that. You don't need to eat all of the food on the plate just because it's there. Okay. Control your portions. Eat local food intentionally. That means not just grabbing whatever's close to you all the time. If local food looks like it's something that's going to give you ample amount of protein, if it's going to be able to fill you up to 80%, stuff like that, prioritize those kinds of local foods and eat it intentionally. Or you can eat healthy throughout the week so that on certain days you can choose to eat whatever local foods you want. Okay? For law 4, discipline abroad means discipline abroad defines your identity. Living abroad reveals who you really are because nobody is watching. We lose a lot of the structure that we had when we lived back home. So when we move to a new place, we tend to change. If you can maintain discipline as you do that, it defines who you are. And the way that we do that is we track our progress and we track our failures, and we basically track all parts of our weight loss, our strength training, whatever our goals are, they need to track. All right. What is your energy like every day? Okay. How consistent are you being? Is there a day that you consistently miss your workouts, and how can you adjust that? All right. Are your arms getting bigger? Are you getting stronger, or is your waist getting smaller? These are things that we need to track so that you can see your big wins as well as your losses. You want to know what you can improve on. Tracking and recalibrating is one of the most important steps to accountability. All right. So, law 5, and it's the last one. Your body is your permanent home, guys. Identity anchoring. When everything around you changes, your body becomes your foundation. As expats, everything changes in our lives, our homes, our friends, our countries, our jobs. So we need something that is not temporary, that is concrete. And the only thing that's concrete within our lives is our bodies, our health. Okay? It's us, it's ourselves. And it's important that we take care of that. So we need to make sure that fitness becomes something that we prioritize in order to do that. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, however you do it, we shouldn't take our fitness and throw it to the side. We shouldn't take our health and throw it to the side. It's easy to do that because a lot of the time we're not focused on our health because our health is fine. We don't need to worry about it. But our choices, whether good or bad, are compounding choices. So we need to make sure that we're trying to compound as many good choices as possible for our health in order to make sure that our home, our bodies remain healthy, so we can continue to experience our life abroad as well as we possibly can. So that is all 5 phases. You guys, if this is looking good, if you're liking this, if you feel like you might need a little bit of help with those phases, again, please send me a DM on Instagram, Ken_Tarafa. Go ahead and send me expat, and we can get you started. We can get in a call to see even if you fit, because you got to see if you fit first. But if you do, then we can get you started on your fitness journey. We can use all these principles and more. We do the tracking and stuff like that. But if you want to continue to try to do this on your own, here are the 3 parts, the 3 pillars of the training itself. So for the training, I like to do full body split if you can work out 2 to 3 times a week. I like full body split because it allows us in a way to be able to train all the body parts once or twice a week. It is very consistent. It's one of the better programs for 2 to 3 times a week, and I use it every time. If I was going 2 or 3 times a week, I would do full body. Now, what I generally tend to do, and what I recommend for most people, I don't think anybody except for maybe, Sebum and Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe they need more than this, but I think most people are going to be good training 4 times a week. Upper and lower split is one of the best splits you can possibly do. What we do, so most of the time we're going to do strength training, and whether that's at the gym or at home, we're going to focus on strength, but cardio is supported, and that's mostly for weight loss or for people who want to improve their VO2 max, if they want to get better at running and movement and health and longevity. All of that's super important too. So it is cardio supported, depending on the type of cardio you enjoy. So if you like cycling, if you like running, if you like swimming, all of that can be included in the program. So the diet is one of the most important parts, and one of the things that I think most trainers might get wrong. So if you are wanting to do this on your own, what I would suggest is picking 1 to 2 simple daily habits that you can do. One of them being maybe protein at every meal, eating slowly, like this kind of thing, maybe drinking enough water throughout the day, like 2 liters, 3 liters, 3.5 liters of water a day. Choose these kinds of habits, 1 to 2 every week. Stick to them for the whole week. Once you master, move on and add on another habit the following week. Once you start to accrue all of these habits, then you will start to see yourself build an actual healthy lifestyle through a combination of all of these healthy habits that you have mastered. This is how I started my weight loss, was just one simple thing. I stopped drinking sugary drinks. I stopped drinking most calories. I switched beers for, I think, like at the time when I was still drinking. I don't drink anymore, but 1 to 2, I would drink vodka sodas, which were, they weren't amazing. I don't love vodka sodas, but I switched them out anyway. And that was big difference on weight loss. Like stuff like that. So, yeah. So you do that, and as you kind of start to build that, the reason that I like to do this system more, eventually, if you are working with us, what we would do is we would work towards trying to learn how to track calories. And so if you're doing this by yourself, I would recommend that as an end goal. You want to be able to learn how to track your calories. You want to be able to learn how to prepare your foods. The better you are at preparing your foods, the better you are at tracking your calories, the easier weight loss and muscle gain are going to be for you. And it's not because those are things that you have to do all the time too. It's because once you understand how those systems work, then it makes your autonomy, your ability to be able to do those things on command much easier in the future. So that is how I manage diet. I don't like to have meal plans because I think it doesn't actually help prepare people for full autonomy. A lot of the time, if I'm giving meal plans, people are just eating the meals, they're making the meals, and sometimes they stop because they don't have the ingredients. I feel like for expats, we don't really have all the ingredients in all the meal plans, so I don't like them, but also people don't really get fully autonomous through them either. So I really like to implement habits with an end goal of learning how to track and prepare meals based off of high protein, better carbs, better fats, whole foods, foods that grow from the ground or have had a mother. And our last one is the last pillar, and this is the most important pillar, you guys. If a training program does not have this, if you yourself are doing this on your own and you do not have this, it will be very difficult to be able to continue on your journey. I don't know how you would be able to. It would be a feat that is unheard of, and that is accountability. Okay. What you need to do is you need to find a way to hold yourself accountable, whether that's through an accountability partner, or if you're doing it by yourself, then you need to hold yourself accountable. Here are some ways that you can do that. You can track yourself, track your own workouts. That's part of one of our laws. Okay. Finding a training partner. This is one that I see a lot of expats do. It is very effective. But the problem with a training partner is that you can sometimes become too reliant on your training partner. And if they give up, then you too start to give up. Find a good training partner, I guess, the best way to talk about that. All right, and schedule a weekly self-check. Now, with our training, with me, I do a weekly check with my clients. We go through, like, how was the week? What do we need to adjust, if anything? How did you feel through that? We'll track that. And then every month, we have a big one where we track or where we do any kind of changes that we need, any adjustments, all of that kind of stuff. So, and the last thing you can do is simply work with a coach. Weekly check-ins, you get form reviews, monthly program adjustments, and you really get somebody who is in your corner, rooting for you, pointing you in the correct direction the whole time so you don't waste time. And that is really important. Ooh, I don't know why I did that, but let's fix it. All right, so now that we've finished that section, let's see what this looks like for someone. A case study. Sarah, who's 36. She's in finance, and she relocated from Chicago to Singapore, okay? In the first month, we do an environment audit. She reveals her condo gym is adequate, but her work hours run 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Wow, that is a long work day. Evening workouts are unrealistic. So she would start training in the morning. She would train in the morning or find a time during lunch that she'd be able to train. It sounds tough, but it is actually very efficient to work out in the morning. Getting up in the morning, if you can manage to get up, then it's actually way better because your training is much less often interrupted and you can maintain consistency a lot easier. Training shifts to 30-minute morning sessions, nutrition built around Hawker Center staples, okay? So high protein, sustainable, affordable. Month 4, habit tracking reveals she skips Monday consistently. So she was able to track her habits. She saw, Mondays aren't really working. How can I fix that? So she schedules, her schedule is changed. She does Friday nights, or she changes the schedule to another day that's going to be more consistent. She plans around Friday night team dinners and things like that. That's how she uses the habit tracking. By the 6th month, she is down by 9 kilograms. More importantly, she is consistent for the first time in 3 years. She's been able to figure out, okay, what is working for me? What is not working for me? She's honest with herself. She figures it out. And this is generally the process that we go through with each client. So there's the system. So you know the system. Now run it. Audit your environment. Build around reality, not ideal conditions. Okay? Adapt locally, your city's foods, gyms, and your tools. Train with intention. Strength first with cardio layered in. build diet habits, not meal plans. Meal plans are going to be hard to stay consistently. I know in the places that I live, if I tried to eat the same thing if I try to eat complex meal plan meals every time, it would be tough because sometimes, especially for some of the weirder ingredients, most places don't have them. They'll have them one week and not have them the next week. Places like especially in Southeast Asia, China, they're pretty consistent with ingredients that they have. So diet habits are the best way to go. Find a way to be accountable. Okay, whether it's you logging yourself, if you have a partner, or if you have a coach in your corner, that's the best way to do it. All of this you can implement yourself. Okay, or you can have someone who's done it with dozens of expats do it with you. If you're interested in having a coach, if you want to just ask questions about getting a coach and what that means, how that's going to help you, again, DM me expat. On Instagram, I am Ken_Tarafa. You can also click the link under the video. That's going to help you that's going to lead you to a place where you can book a call with me directly. Anyway, if you're an expat looking to lose weight, to get in shape, to get built, this is the way that you do it. This is the way that I did it. And this is the way that I help my clients do it each and every time. And this is the best method, in my opinion, for anyone that is an expat to actually stay consistent, to build sustainable habits while living abroad. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. I know it was a long one, so I'll catch you guys later.